and welcome to the third ever episode of Gay Geek Theory Podcast.
Well, it's not the third ever. We have, this is the fourth total episode, but it's the third official episode.
Yes, because we have our Spider-Man Special Edition, which is our most watched episode.
Really, yeah.
Because nobody watches our other ones.
Yeah.
So
probably because the other ones are way too long, and that one's, the only reasonably lengthed one.
Yeah. But, just for anyone who's kind of listening and thinks that we're too long, if you have a commute in the morning, turn us on.
Ha!
We will keep you entertained.
Yeah, we do want to make the transition into, a real, iTunes podcast eventually, but...
We just have to figure out how.
Yeah, neither of us are, epic IT savvy, so...
Yeah, we need to find someone who knows this stuff.
Yeah. I
know everything there is to know about audio formats.
You're a hardware kind of person.
Yeah, I know format stuff. I don't know how to get it there. Though.
Is IT even considered software technology anymore?
I have no idea. We are ruining our reputation as geeks as we speak.
We are not nerds. We are geeks. Let's clarify that.
Yeah, are we nerds or geeks?
No, I think nerds are the really smart ones with the pimplies and the epic broken
or are they
classes
dorks?
No, dorks are just
or dweebs.
I don't know anymore. I didn't even count dorks in there.
We are something, and we don't know stuff, and we need someone who does know stuff. So if you know how to turn us into a proper iTunes podcast, please message us.
We do know how to talk for, an hour at a time.
We can talk as long as you need us to.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we have a lot of actually really interesting topics this week, and it's not just about the Oscars or movies. There's, real world stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So, the first thing that we want to talk about is Mary Cheney.
Yeah.
Because this happened a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago. It's not, brand new, but it didn't get nearly as much news attention as it should have, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I think the Cheneys tried to shut it down as much as possible when they realized which way the wind was blowing on this quote.
So, Mary Cheney, who is Dick Cheney's lesbian daughter.
Go figure.
She had something to say regarding the show RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm going to read you the entire...
drag queens in general. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to read you the entire quote right now. And this is what it says. So, last night I was channel surfing and saw an ad for RuPaul's Drag Race show. It got me wondering about something, and I'm curious to see if anyone on here has an answer. Why is it socially acceptable as a form of entertainment for men to put on dresses, makeup, and high heels and act out every offensive stereotype of women, bitchy, catty, dumb, slutty, etc., but it is not socially acceptable as a form of entertainment for a white person to put on blackface and act out offensive stereotypes of African Americans? Shouldn't both be okay, or neither?
It makes me uncomfortable just to hear that.
Why does society treat these activities so differently? And just so we are clear, I'm talking only about activities intended for entertainment. I am not talking about transgendered individuals who transition from one gender to another. So that's nice that she's not, being totally hateful.
Not totally. Just, I kind of specialize in modern literature theory.
You should hear him yelling at me about what feminism actually is.
And Taylor Swift, in case. So, a lot of modern literature theory is based around feminism, and specifically how we look at women in... I'm drifting away from the microphone. How we view women in literature. And a lot of that draws upon social science, too. So, they're kind of over interception in there. And... Speaking of Facebook... Message to clarify her.
And this was posted on her personal Facebook page, too. This wasn't meant for public consumption, but she is a public figure.
Yeah, so...
So, of course, it was, people paid attention to it. And one of the messages on Facebook asked her to clarify her comments, and she just said, seriously? And,
Well, the thing that I was mentioning about...
There is a big difference between doing drag and blackface.
Oh, yeah.
Because doing drag was created out of... Drag was not created to marginalize women.
It was created out of respect and solidarity for women.
Yeah.
It was solidarity with the feminist movement, actually. Gay men saying, look, we also have a shit deal like you guys, i.e. women. we're gonna just, show how awesome you are by making you really awesome. And
I mean, drag is done for, like, the most powerful women, the strongest women. Cher, Tina Turner.
It's an emulation of figures they respect.
Yeah, it's women who have gone through hell and come out the other side even stronger than they were.
Well, that too, but also women who uphold the ideas of independence, like Beyonce.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I think Pamela Anderson's another right one.
I don't know, Pamela Anderson.
The whole idea about feminism is that you have the ability to choose who you want to be, whether you want to be a slut or whether you want to be
like Pamela
a
Anderson.
really independent woman. You can be Hillary Clinton or you can be Paris Hilton. Like, that is the goal of feminism, is that we should not discriminate based on your ability to choose. And I think, personally, I feel feminism has drifted a very long ways away from that ideal.
Right.
Almost to the point where the modern feminism that's being presented now is very alien to that. A lot of feminist thinkers aren't really feminists in that respect, just because they've moved very beyond the whole idea of gender. They've already digested that. They are satisfied with how they think of gender for now.
Right.
And they're mostly focused on international feminism. They're focused on representations of minority feminism, immigration feminism. And I feel very much today that the kind of a feminism that's being researched and trying to be presented by academics is very distant from what feminism is called by pop culture.
Well, yeah, and we've had this discussion before. I am not someone who, like, reads about feminism and stuff like that. I sort of see it as pop culture sees it. I see it as,
Taylor Swift
equal rights for women, equal protection, equal pay, stuff like that.
Well, and that's the thing.
And I think most people see it that way, and so I think there is a disconnect between what feminism is right now academically and what it is actively.
Definitely. Academically, the academic feminism already kind of digested or moved beyond thinking about equality, gender equality, and gender equality, equal pay, equal rights, equal protection.
And I think that happened like in
the 80s.
In the 80s and the 90s, like when it was really the gap was being gotten rid of.
It got to the point where, like, the feminist arguers had all they had to say about gender equality. And they made all their arguments for why it should happen. They made all their arguments for why it isn't happening. They made their cases for who needs to do what. They just exhausted that.
And I think
and then especially when African American women began to start writing about feminism, there was a very distinct shift to how does feminism hold up for the black woman. Mm-hmm. That was a very bell hooks thing. Is that feminism exists? What was it? It does. I forget what her direct quote, but it was along the line of, if you're not a white woman, feminism has a difficulty applying to you.
Right. But I think when feminism started to make the shift, away from, equal pay, stuff like that, is when that stuff was it was being taken care of, especially during the Clinton administration. Mm-hmm. And like in the United States, everywhere else, it was just kind of like an off topic. It was not talked about so much because it wasn't such a big deal, because it was basically being taken care of.
Yeah, Clinton was making very good groundwork in making fundamental changes for women in the States.
And then even under George Bush, it was really, he wasn't exactly a huge feminist, but it wasn't a huge deal. It's only been in the last, I'd say, 5 years since the United States Congress has gone like mega right wing, that equal rights for women kind of has come back to the forefront, because they're not passing equal pay, and they're getting rid of abortion rights, and they're getting rid of birth control rights. I can't remember if they passed it or if they were trying to pass it, where your insurance that's paid by your employer does not have to cover birth control, because it's a religious thing where your employer can say, birth control is against my religion, I don't want my employees to have it on my dime. And like, they're basically using religion to take away women's rights. And so there's this, I don't know how we got to this from Mary Cheney's being a bitch.
This is still really significant, because one of the most significant ways we've taken feminism isn't just in terms of ethnicity and skin color, but also about looking at what gender is. Like, we spoke about gender equality and all this all we want.
And Mary
But
Cheney is...
no one's really explained to the general population what gender is. Gender we think of as just man and woman, male and female.
Right.
When really academically it's not. It's seen as being much more fluid than that. And this is where Judith Butler has been so influential, is that she was one of the first significant people to say gender is performative. Gender isn't something you're born with, it's something you acquire through your life. You develop your gender. And yes, there are two basic genders. They're man and woman. But also gay man and gay woman or transgender woman, they don't quite fit into those boxes. And people are really uncomfortable with that. And that's where drag is really significant, because it's in direct defiance to gender. RuPaul's famous quote is, "You're born naked and all the rest is drag." So, and this is where it's coming in. It's like, you can change your gender. You can change what the social norms you represent. And the reason why blackface isn't acceptable is because you cannot change your ethnicity.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot, with the exception of Michael Jackson, you can't really just decide, I don't want to be black anymore.
Well, even then, Michael Jackson still identified as a black man.
Yeah, even when he was paler than I am, he was still identified as African American. And there are people who have been replying to this saying, basically to that question, who replied to Mary Cheney's, the argument that you cannot choose to be black or white. That there are black men and women in the United States, and other countries too, I imagine, who are African American, but they're very light-skinned. And basically they can pass for, if not white, they can pass as mixed race. And when they sign, say, their census information, they check the Caucasian box. Because they come from African American parents, but because they're lighter skinned, they choose to be Caucasian, and they were saying this, and my response to that is,
they don't choose to be Caucasian. They represent, like, when it comes to
because
skin
you
color,
can say
it's a
like,
representation of what you are. It's a physical representation,
and you can check a box on a piece of paper. I mean, I could check a box on a piece of paper saying I'm African American. Then you look at me and you say, "No, Whitey, you're not."
And it's not.
But when it comes down to walking down the street and someone sees you and they see the color of your skin, they have an immediate reaction. And you can't change that. Whereas, with gender is more fluid than that.
Drag is harmless. Like, drag queens...
Nobody gets hurt.
Drag queens may up how bitchy they are in terms of women, but it's more making fun of a masculine interpretation of what women are than making fun of women themselves. Like, everyone who goes to see a drag show or sees a drag queen is like, no woman ever acts like that. They are acting as an idealistic, almost, kind of representation of how men see women.
Yeah. They take it to the extreme, just like every performative art takes things to the extreme.
Satire. It's very much satire.
Yeah. I mean, when you see a drag queen...
It's like looking at South Park and taking it seriously. You can't do it just because everything is so over the top.
It's like seeing a drag queen who is performing as... Well, Cher's a bad example, because Cher has basically turned herself into a drag queen.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the great thing about these, like, Cher.
But seeing a drag queen who is performing as Adele... they are being as British as possible. They are being as jazzy as possible. And they are not being Adele. They are being Adele as performed by a man.
They are being the personification of Adele.
Yeah.
they are being how people see Adele taken to another level.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Judith Butler, is that gender is a performance. It's not something you're born with. Right. It's something you do. She said, woman is not a description, it is a command.
Right.
And also, blackface has a very old checkered history. With that in comedy. Especially in comedy, because...
Blackface was never used as a way to...
represent black people. Well, it was. It was never used as a way to speak for black people. It was used as a way to marginalize and disrespect them.
Yeah, there was never a time when blackface was used as a way to empower African Americans.
Oh, Sarah Silverman show.
Well,
that one time.
in the early days when blackface was like in Hollywood and on Broadway and stuff like that. It was used as a way to demean black people.
Well,
it wasn't used as
never
a way...
an, oh shit, we don't have a black actor, let's paint this white guy as black. It's say, let's get this white guy to give his interpretation of the worst of what he sees black people as.
Right. Like, there are...
Like, and it was for comedy. It was, look at this black person, look at this white guy representing this black person, acting out how he sees, or how he believes, or how he wants black people to act.
Right. Like, and in the early days of Hollywood, blackface was pretty ubiquitous.
Really?
Because they didn't want to hire black actors a lot.
That makes sense.
Like, the biggest one that I can think of is in Birth of a Nation. And there's a picture here. Like, that's blackface there.
Oh.
Where...
Really? With the lips, too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. That's terrible.
And Birth of a Nation specifically is a movie that makes the Ku Klux Klan seem like the Knights of King Arthur. Like, they are the best thing that ever happened in America. And they saved the South, and they rebuilt it and everything, and...
Who fucking produced the movie?
There's so much... The director of the movie eventually felt so bad for it, he made another movie that was all about how bad slavery was throughout the generations since biblical times. Mm-hmm. But, like... And that is what people think of when they think of blackface. Blackface has never evolved into something modern. There has never been a version of blackface that has become largely known in pop culture that is positive. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder is the closest they've come.
I haven't seen it, so...
It's amazing. It's like the best part of the movie. I do not enjoy Ben Stiller at all. I love that movie even though he's in it, just because Robert Downey Jr. in that movie is amazing. But drag has become a way to sort of play your icons.
Yeah.
Where blackface has never evolved to that.
It's sort of tying into feminism, like, why should we look down on bitchy diva women? Like... I think it's great, like, and that's what a lot of other people who emulate drag too, is they think, why does this have to be a shameful thing? Like, live it out proud, you know?
Yeah. Like, when they did the Robert Downey Jr. blackface stuff in Tropic Thunder, they actually made him look African-American. There wasn't, like, the giant white lips around and the...
Still, I think it was a little bit uncouth.
Oh, of course, but I mean, that was the whole movie.
Hmm.
I mean, the movie is not at all... politically correct. But like, and this is coming from Mary Cheney, who is herself a lesbian, who, you know, she is a part of this world.
But her views on gender...
She is very conservative.
She's very right-wing. You can tell she is her father's daughter.
Oh, yeah. She's not quite as crazy as her sister, Liz, but she is very right-wing. And I mean, you'd think that her being a lesbian, especially in that world, in the world of Republicans and right-wing talking points and talk radio and stuff like that, that she would have a slightly more open mind. But, of course, she doesn't because she is her father's daughter. And it confuses me so much because here she is, a modern day, she's not like old,
no,
and she is a lesbian in modern day America, and she cannot see the difference between blackface and drag when there is the Queen of England, who is in her 80s, 90s now?
80s, 90s.
Who recently just signed gay marriage into law in England, and her quote while she was signing it was, "Well, who'd have thought 62 years ago when I came to the throne I'd be signing something like this? Isn't it wonderful?"
No, you gotta do it with the accent. Well, who'd have thought 62 years ago when I came to the throne I'd be signing something like this? Isn't it wonderful? You know,
I think if the Queen hears this, she's going to put a hit out on you for saying...
I don't know, those DJs who did the whole prank call to Kate's birth room. Did you remember that?
No.
Oh, okay. DJs in Australia made a prank call to the hospital where Kate was staying, pretending to be the Queen and Charles.
Yeah.
Got personal, confidential information on the Queen's health status. And that nurse later killed herself.
Oh, Jesus.
And the DJs didn't really get any big trouble.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah,
I remember hearing
yeah,
about the nurse. Yeah. Oh, my God.
I actually heard the call. It was kind of funny. Definitely radio-worthy, but definitely should not have been done.
Oh, that poor woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But anyways, yeah, so I think my Queen interpretation is going to be fine, especially after I talk about drag and taking things to extremes. Has anyone tried to do drag of the Queen? British British comedy, of course. Come on.
Drag of the Queen has been... I can't remember who it was.
It's the UK, and they're just obsessed with drag, so...
I think it was Dame Edna who did Drag of the Queen while in presence of the Queen.
Oh my God.
I think it was Dame Edna. I can't be sure. But it's been done, and the Queen gets a kick out of it.
But this isn't the only time that the Queen has come out in direct support of
gay stuff.
Gay stuff. Lots and lots of gay stuff have happened.
Yeah, I mean, she's English, and I mean the English have a pretty checkered past when it comes to gay rights. I mean,
when the rest of Europe was kind of just whatever about gay things, they were putting out anti-sodomy laws and imprisoning Oscar Wilde and Radcliffe Hall.
And Alan Turing, who won World War II for them. And
I'm talking about pre-1800s.
Well, but and then they chemically castrated Alan Turing for being gay.
Royalty, or even if the Prime Minister would have heard that Alan Turing was being convicted of this, they would have given him a pardon.
Later on, the Queen said she had no idea what was happening and she would have stopped it. And this was like in the 60s or 70s.
When you were explaining to me what happened after I read about it, you were kind of talking about how it all happened so fast. How the police kind of just seized Alan Turing and in a week chemically castrated him. Yeah,
it was basically the police and one judge, and it never really got to the higher ups. Like it never got to the Supreme Court or the English equivalent or the Queen or Prime Minister, and it never got there because...
Was the Queen ruling at the end of the war, or is that still King George?
I think he left before the end of the war.
Before the end of the war, okay.
Yeah. And of course there is vast conspiracies about how many homosexuals there actually is in the English royal family.
Well, it's kind of been a thing through all... Well, no, what was it? The Braveheart. The king who was married...
Braveheart?
Braveheart. Have you seen Braveheart? I haven't. I just know that the enemy king in Braveheart historically was homosexual.
Well, I mean, that was pretty common. Not just in English royals.
Well, no, royalty got to fuck whoever they wanted to fuck. Like, it didn't matter.
And I mean, if you were going to be married to a king, you weren't going to be like, if you fuck a boy, I'm leaving. You were like, I'm going to have your kids and then be happy.
Women from a very early age, women who were marriageable to royalty from a very early age were told their role in a marriage was to just provide an heir and make the marriage look legitimate.
Yeah. Be happy, smile.
Sometimes it was a loving marriage, sometimes it wasn't.
And sometimes it was a completely loving marriage where they never had sex.
Sometimes it was completely platonic.
Sometimes it was like House of Cards where they just were like, let's have sex with whoever we want.
Well, yeah, like Catherine the Great.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't English, she was Russian.
I'm talking about monarchs in general.
Yeah. And Catherine the Great, of course, historically is known for having sex with a horse.
Yeah, although that's not how she died. They think she died on the toilet. Either she fell and hit her head, or...
Like Elvis. Oh, the grates in the toilets.
Great comparison. But yeah, the Queen seems to have... Personally, I think the Queen has a bit of a personal investment in this.
Yeah.
I would definitely say it's not that much of an extension to... say that one of the current royal families, especially one of the public figures, is gay.
Oh, absolutely.
This might just be
if not one of her direct descendants.
This might be just wishful thinking, but I can totally see Prince Henry being into dudes.
Prince Henry.
Harry.
It
says Henry right there.
Or maybe his real name is Henry.
Let's
click on it and see. Yeah, that's him, Prince Hot Ginge.
Prince Hot Ginger, Jesus Christ.
Who is 30 years old and not married.
Wow. Not married. And what was his quote about gay people? Like, he'd go gay for the right guy? Was that the quote?
Let's find the quote, shall we?
And
you keep talking it up.
Really? What can I talk about?
I don't know. Prince Harry's hot ginger bush.
Oh my god, I adore gingers so much. And the leaked Vegas pictures of Prince Harry that came out, oh my god, I had them, bookmarked for a while.
So Prince Harry protected a gay soldier. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, neat.
I can't find the quote. Prince Harry saves rear gunner from gay attack.
Rear gunner from gay attack.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, here we go. Prince Harry. I might experiment with gay men if my relationship doesn't work out.
Oh.
So...
There's hope for me yet.
we need to buy some tickets and get our asses to London. The Queen would love me. I think she would...
So, yeah, I definitely think that if that wasn't coming out, that's enough of coming out, you know? That's enough coming out for him to at least be heteroflexible. Like, he just came out as heteroflexible.
And I mean, there are tons of people in the family who are basically rumored to be gay, who they may be married, they may be not. But they have their rumors. They're usually like cousins, dukes, whatever. Mm-hmm. Because it's incredibly common in royal families throughout history that people ended up being gay, whether it's the inbreeding or what, I don't know.
Well, not the inbreeding. It's just that when you have that much political power, you're kind of free from the confinements of the laws and social expectation. So you're not raised thinking, I have to be this.
Right.
You're raised thinking, I have so many things I can be in my personal time.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have that much money, you're bored.
And, of course, Princess Diana was famously very, very popular among gay men.
Oh, yeah.
And was very, very supportive of gay rights in England. In the 80s and the 90s, she was a huge advocate for HIV and AIDS research. She was the very first, I'm pretty sure she was the very first world leader level type person to actually touch people with AIDS.
With AIDS, oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, the current queen is actually, when you think about it, the first religious leader to come out in support of gay marriage.
Well, yeah.
Because not many people realize this, but
she is the leader of the Anglican Church.
The English monarchy is the head of the Anglican Church. Everyone's like, oh, what does the royal family do? No, they're the Pope equivalent.
Yeah, she is the Pope of the Anglicans.
Mm-hmm.
Which they have a female Pope. What's wrong with you, Catholics?
They've had a bunch of female popes.
They just don't like talking about who, the Anglicans or Catholics?
The Anglicans.
Oh,
it started with Prince Henry the First. No, the Sixth. The one that killed 6 of his wives. No, he married 6 times and killed 2.
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII,
yeah.
Famous one. I can't really remember that. All this Henry, Harry, George, so many fake names. Anyways,
Henry VIII was gay?
No, he wasn't gay. He loved women way too much.
I was going to say, I think you're wrong there.
But no, he was the first leader of the Anglican Church.
Yeah, because he broke from the Catholics.
Well, this was a really interesting time because it was the first time in history that the religious leader, first time in recent history when the religious leader was the same as the political leader.
Yeah.
Which means that sin was technically an offense to the state. When you think about it.
And he just kind of got to change the laws.
Well, yeah, which means their second pope was actually a woman.
Well, there was Pope...
Queen
I want to say with
Queen
the Catholics.
Queen Elizabeth I was a...
with the Catholics, there was...
Queen Elizabeth.
I want to say Pope... It was Queen Elizabeth. That was her daughter. That was his daughter, and she was like anti-sexual. She just didn't do it.
She had a lot of things going on. She framed herself as a man. She was, I argue...
Well, she never got married.
She never married. She never married because she didn't want the power of England to go to the man she would get married to. So she kind of threw off her court and kept postponing her marriage.
That was like a really interesting time because you had Queen Elizabeth and her sister, 2 women, and her sister was
her half-sister. Mary of Scotland.
And it was just basically 2 women fighting over control.
Well, yeah. And it wasn't even really them. It was the people supporting them who were fighting for them.
Yeah, well...
Queen Elizabeth didn't really have
But Mary, Queen of Scots, I mean, there's a reason she's called Bloody Mary. She was kind of...
Yeah. That's why why Elizabeth got a lot more support at the time.
This has turned into a history podcast.
Queen Elizabeth, and back on the topic of drag and gender, Queen Elizabeth framed herself as a man many times. In formal documents and letters, she described
the original Queen Elizabeth, not the current
one. Yes, in the 1600s, contemporary of Shakespeare, very big fan of Shakespeare, actually.
Who was also gay.
Bi, at least.
Oh, he was gay.
But yeah, so she framed herself as a man, and she described herself as a man. And in a play by Timothy Findlay, there were actually very strong references to her being a man. Like, she called herself as a man because she thought only a man could rule England.
Right.
And I don't trust any other man that I meet with that role, so I have to be that man.
Right. And she had a suit of armor made.
I wanna be that guy.
She fought. She went out into battlefields, and
she was she was probably one of the most badass monarchs of all time.
She was like the prototype for Catherine the Great.
Mm-hmm.
Who, Catherine the Great was the 1800s?
Something like that.
And she tried to get Russia into the rest of Europe and failed.
She failed that, but she took a lot of Europe into the rest of Russia.
True.
If I can't join him, I'll beat him. There was a Hark a Vagrant comic about that. And it was just really, really funny. Made by a girl who went to Mount Allison, my first school, actually.
Oh. But speaking of English stuff, this past weekend we saw Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Yeah.
And you need everybody listening. There's only like 3 of you, but go watch it.
I wasn't sure if I should change my pants or because it was a really awkward combination of sexy, fun, exciting, and I had to do the entire thing in a neck brace so I couldn't laugh. Oh no, take that picture away.
No.
Don't do it. I have now resolved to not look at Taron Egerton because
Edgerton.
I am... Edgerton?
Yeah, Edgerton.
I didn't see an S there.
Edgerton.
I'm sorry.
You've been calling him by his wrong name. How dare you?
Oh my god, I have been. I'm so sorry.
By any chance, if Taron Egerton is listening to this podcast, comment and I will give you my address and my phone number and my banking information and my credit card numbers, and you can do whatever you want as long as I get just one night with you. That would be fine. I'd be okay with that.
No, I don't know whether to go for him or Chris Pratt. Probably for him because Edgerton is single and Chris Pratt is happily married, unfortunately.
Happily,
goddamn.
Quote unquote.
No, they are happily unmarried. Like, every source I've been looking at says it, and I look up a lot of sources, but now,
That is not Taron Egerton, that is Jon Snow.
Kind of so in love with Edgerton that whenever James mentions him, I kind of run to a bed or something and hide under the covers and
But this movie...
regret everything in my life.
This movie was absolutely fantastic.
It was fantastic.
Colin Firth was amazing in it. Colin Firth
expect it. You wouldn't expect Colin Firth to kick ass the way he did.
He went from The King's Speech, Mamma Mia, Bridget Jones to being move over James Bond.
He is the spy to be now. Unfortunately, I can't spoil the movie. Never mind.
Yeah. But apparently he is going to be in the sequel. So that's all we're going to say. Samuel L. Jackson was awesome, as usual.
Samuel Jackson was perfect. I mean, you kind of don't see it at first because you're like, what the fuck am I listening to? Because he has this really convincing lisp.
Yeah. But one thing that I found out that...
No, take his picture away. I can't
The picture's not there.
No.
Was that Taron Egerton almost played Cyclops in...
Very glad he passed it up for this movie.
X-Men Apocalypse. Well, no, this movie was finished, and Bryan Singer turned him down for whoever is playing Cyclops. I don't know. But he turned down Taron Egerton before Kingsman came out, and I'm sure that he's kicking himself in his ass now for turning him down, because Taron Egerton is a star.
What was the box office from this movie? Definitely. Taron Egerton wasn't even on the billing on the movie poster.
Well, no,
it was Sam Jackson,
Colin Firth,
and
there was someone else. Someone else's name on there.
Alfred. His name is I love this guy. Michael Caine.
Yeah, Michael Caine.
They were billed for that, even though Edgerton was at the very top. And
so worldwide, it's made $107 million so far, which is quite good considering it's based on a comic book that no one's ever heard of before.
Well, yeah, and it also came out with not Twilight.
50 Shades
of Grey.
Yeah, that thing. And the production budget was $81 million. So say $100 million when you throw in it's definitely going to make its budget back, and there should be a sequel. And
there needs to be a sequel. It needs to happen.
It's amazing. Go see it. It is the best spy movie I have seen.
Quentin Tarantino said that it was the spy movie he wanted to make.
Yeah, like it was just so much fun and so over the top and so crazy.
What did 50 Shades make?
50 Shades of Grey has made so far worldwide $315 million on a $40 million budget.
Domestically, they're not that much different. What was the domestic for? Domestic, there are 106.
Domestic 50 Shades of Grey has made $106 million. Domestic Kingsman has made $46 million.
Okay, so not that far off, actually.
Well, I mean, $60 million.
When you factor in how much publicity 50 Shades has gotten...
versus how much Kingsman got.
Like, 50 Shades...
They set it up perfectly, though, because Kingsman was awesome counter-programming to 50 Shades
and they
of Grey.
factored that into their Valentine's Day campaign.
Yeah.
They'll be going up against 50 Shades. So, I have a lot of respect for that movie and just the production of it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And Kingsman was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who also directed X-Men First Class, and
who Fox got rid of when Bryan Singer was like, "Oh, X-Men are popular again. I want to direct the next one."
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is he fucking?
And
like,
everybody.
Apparently. Just like, how many dicks must he have his ass in
all
Hollywood
the underage ones, anyway.
Yeah, really.
Well, that, of course, that hasn't been confirmed. There is no confirmation.
Quite the contrary, because evidence has been released saying that that's a bit shady, but...
So, we are not saying that Bryan Singer likes to diddle young boys, but...
I actually doubt...
There's a lot of people out there saying he does.
Well, even if he does, there's no evidence for it, so...
Yeah, so we're not saying it.
I just don't...
We're not going to talk about it.
I just don't like the guy as a director. I'll throw that out there.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the end of The Usual Suspects, and apparently there's no point in watching the movie now. Like, what's the... Like, even when you know that the sled's name is Rosebud, you still watch the rest of the movie.
At first I thought you said, the slut's name is Rosebud. I was going to say, well, who's she?
It'd be a good porn name.
It would be a good porn
John Rosebud.
No, Rosebud. Have you ever seen a Rosebud?
No.
Anyone who knows anything about fisting knows what a Rosebud is.
Fuck. Oh, God. I'm really that not good of a gay guy. I'm a terrible gay man.
But yeah, it was directed by Matthew Vaughn. Fantastic movie. The cast is just amazing. Mark Hamill is in it for like 15 minutes.
It's
and
great.
he's awesome. It's just the cat and the one with the legs with the things.
Yeah,
and
oh my god.
Oh, so much awesome. But
and, like, actors who are really big appear in this movie for no more than like half a scene. And
yeah.
You're like, what the fuck happened?
And there was a lot of in Kingsman. There was a lot of gay innuendo.
So much gay innuendo. It was like, I spent most of the movie thinking that Eggsy was going to be gay at the end.
And Eggsy is the character.
There was a bunch of like this romantic tension. He met a princess. He rescued a princess.
He literally rescued a princess.
And I thought the end of the movie was going to be him turning up the babe for a dude, but that didn't happen. So don't go into it expecting him to be gay, because your hopes will be let down and your dreams will be shattered.
Maybe he'll play a gay guy in something else.
Maybe he'll play a gay guy in my bed. Maybe he won't be playing.
I completely forget where I was going with that. But yeah, it did lose the box office. It's an amazing movie, but it did come in second to 50 Shades of Grey.
I don't think they were really expecting it to do fantastically, though.
No. It overperformed.
Definitely. Like, I mean, when you put anything up against 50 Shades, unless it's a kid's movie, like SpongeBob did, too.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to perform up to that standard. And it came out the same day, so they couldn't have been expecting too much.
Kingsman was expecting to do about... I think it was 29 million, and it did 36 million, 41 million over the 4-day weekend. So it did quite a bit more than they expected. Mm-hmm. 50 Shades of Grey also overperformed, which is, I mean, that's good.
I think that was a direct result of them deliberately downplaying to say that they overperformed at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected 50 Shades to do a lot better than it has.
Well, I mean, it's made $100 million. It's R-rated.
No, for how much controversy this movie whipped up in the first part, I expected it to do, like, Twilight level.
It made more than Twilight.
Did it?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
It's gone now. It's 7-day total made $106 million. Twilight made $93 million. So it has beaten out Twilight.
Well, 50 Shades doesn't have a lot of people didn't see Twilight as a direct result of not seeing Twilight. They didn't want to see it. It was kind of a protest against it. 50 Shades doesn't have the awfulness that Twilight, that it should have associated.
We assume, anyway. It has like
Twilight, 50 Shades was originally a fan fiction of Twilight.
Now, the movie 50 Shades of Grey has, I believe, I'm going to check, but I believe it's 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of
about that
atrocious.
I need to make love to that man.
It's a picture of Taron Egerton on the screen.
25%. Can we just fill like the entire like video portion of this with like pictures of Taron Egerton?
We should.
Like shirtless.
I think I might do. There's not a lot of shirtless pictures of him.
We can find some.
We will.
I'll find him on Manhunt or something.
So 50 Shades of Grey has a 25% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which basically says it's a piece of shit. Kingsman has a 74%, and I can understand why it's not higher because
it's not a movie for everyone.
Yeah.
If you're expecting it to be a spy thriller or an action movie, it doesn't really deliver on either of those. But if you look at it as sort of like a comedic genre blend movie, it is fabulous.
Yeah.
It's very colorful. It's very over the top.
It's very colorful.
And if you like realism, it's not going to be for you. Which I don't understand why critics are even watching it if they're expecting it, because I can't stand when critics have a movie that they like. They say, I like this kind of movie.
Yeah.
And they refuse to look at a movie for how it's supposed to be watched.
Yeah. But it has done quite well, and now, of course, but 50 Shades of Grey obviously made more money because which I'm okay with, because both movies overperformed, which is good for this year, because last year movies were underperforming year-round.
Until Captain America.
Well, no, even Captain America kind of, they were hoping for more. Guardians of the Galaxy was when they were like, oh, wow, that overperformed. But Captain America, Spider-Man, X-Men, they all did really well, but they didn't hit Iron Man numbers, which is what everyone wanted.
Everyone wants Iron Man numbers.
Everyone wants Avatar numbers, but they don't get them.
The stupid thing is I don't really understand why Iron Man did as fabulously well as it did.
Well, Iron Man 3 did so well because it came right off of Avengers.
Yeah.
And so I think Age of Ultron is going to really take off this year. And there's a lot of other movies I'm excited for this year, and we should have like an episode where we just talk about the upcoming movies we're excited for.
Well, yeah, we want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Eventually.
But 50 Shades of Grey did do incredibly well at the box office. Will it hold up second weekend? I don't know.
Well, I think
because I think there's a lot of people who are waiting for home video for it.
I also think like it was a Valentine's Day rush. Like 50 Shades,
sure.
Oh, let's go watch some S&M movies so we can do that stuff when we get back home. When really all the S&M in 50 Shades is extended to blindfolds, mouth gags, and fuzzy handcuffs.
Well, whipping, and apparently there's some whipping and stuff in there.
We should have a video on S&M and stuff, because I can talk for days about how real S&M should be done.
We are going to we're going to dress him up all in leather, and he is going to demonstrate what S&M really is.
How is that any different from how I normally dress up?
We are going to have him dress up as he normally dresses up and show you what S&M really is. But yeah, so this 50 Shades has sort of opened up the floodgates now of what is acceptable for an R-rated movie. And my question now is, where's the gay 50 Shades?
Where's the 50 Shades of Gay?
Yeah.
Because, like, up until, like, what's the rating thing called? The FDA?
The MPAA.
MPAA. So many fucking acronyms. They've always had a rule. No hard dicks. Ever. Like, no penetration, or else you get the NC-18?
NC-17.
NC-17.
Which is confusing, because NC-17 you're not allowed in when you're 17. Mm-hmm. So it's no children 17 or younger.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the R rating is it's 18 or you need a parent.
And there's a lot of sexuality like going on without any nudity whatsoever. And in movies which are completely harmless, but there are movies that have gay characters. Completely harmless otherwise, just some guys are gay and they might make a few dirty jokes. Those will get, like, R ratings. When movies that have boobs flying out everywhere will get PG-13.
I mean, Brokeback Mountain was rated R. Nothing happens in that movie. Yeah. There's, like, 2 butt shots and some dry humping.
Was there even any swearing?
I think there was a little bit of swearing. But it wasn't like, oh, I want to fuck you. They just said fuck in, like, a different context. It wasn't a sexual context. And why did that get an R rating? But like there needs to be a movie out there that is like super high quality, very erotic and gay, and actually put in theaters and not just. And there's a company, production company. It's just starting called.
Is this the one you showed me?
Yeah.
Okay, I got this bookmarked. Ganymedia.
Ganymedia. Gany Media. Yeah.
Ganymedia.
They are calling themselves an erotic cinema company, or a gay erotic cinema company. And their whole thing is making movies that are high quality, based on story and character, that just so happen to have a lot of hot sex in them.
Well, yeah, so basically like HBO, but gay.
So you can go to their website. It's Ganymedia XXX.
It's not porn, it's HBO.
Yeah. GanyMediaXXX.com. And support them, because if you're gay and you kind of want to see the gay version of 50 Shades of Grey, these are the guys that are apparently going to do it.
I love that kind of stuff, and I read into gay comic books.
Yeah.
Not gay comic books, but,
Gay
erotic comic books, just because I really don't like just huge dicks getting pummeled into guys. Like, I get turned on a lot, personally, more by sexual tension and atmosphere buildup. And
it's kind of like with porn. You get 4 or 5 scenes of just 20 minutes of constant sex, and
maybe 5 minutes connecting them of like plot. Maybe
not even most of the time. And I mean, the most successful porn is just like Sean Cody and SeanCody.com,
which
and
is
stuff
amateur
like that.
stuff. Like, you could have those scenes, like 5 minutes of those scenes. It's 20 minutes to make you feel like you get your money's worth. But there only needs to be 5 scenes of editing, 5 minutes of editing when I edit it down and cut to the sexy scenes. Because most people that I talk to, myself included, usually gay guys anyways, watch porn for like they find 5 minutes that they really like, and just put that on repeat. And that's one of the reasons why Tumblr has gotten so successful in terms of distributing gay porn, is because it is like 5 seconds to a minute of the most erotic scene from a video put on either GIFs or mini videos, and it takes off really far.
And like, I've talked to a lot of women who they like gay porn. They find gay porn hot.
The largest consuming demographic of gay erotic fiction, so gay erotic novels, are middle-aged women. Yeah,
because they think it's hot, like the guy-on-guy action, but it's really gratuitous when it's 20 minutes of just dick.
Well, yeah,
and ass and just like sloppiness. And whereas if it was 10 minutes of character and build up and foreplay, and then 5 minutes of sex, kind of like in real life. Then they would buy into that.
And that's the thing about like these amateur Sean Cody videos, is a lot of them are filmed over like 48 hours.
Yeah, like I watch Sean Cody videos for the behind the scenes stuff, and I don't watch the porn because the porn is boring.
Oh, it's so annoying when he does that.
It's 20 minutes of just sex, whereas the behind the scenes stuff, it's not character, because
you're getting to know these guys. They have sense of humor. They're quirky. They're humanized.
Yeah, which Nick hates because
I hate. I get so butthurt over those guys because I'm like, I will never have one of these guys.
Which, I don't know, some of them are...
I'm still waiting on my Prince Charming.
Some of them are not all that great looking.
Shall I say my Prince David?
Prince David? If David from Sean Cody is listening...
David Naughty on Sean Cody, and he is... I have built an entire fantasy around a relationship with this guy. I realize this is totally irrational, and to James and I, it's kind of become this term, like my David, has come to... Like, it's become this term of describing your perfect ideal guy.
Yeah.
While also being fully aware that this person's probably nothing like you expect them to be. It's just nice to have fantasies like that, Well, like, basically, like, it would be fun to have a porn studio that would take, like,
wouldn't it be nice?
Queer as Folk and actually make it legitimately pornographic instead of just suggesting pornography.
Yeah, like, if you have a 3-hour movie or if you have a full-length movie and there's porn and there's scenes in it that they're basically, it's porn, and you can get off and keep watching the movie and enjoy the story, why not? Like, I think that's a cool idea.
Just because like Deep Throat. I watch Deep Throat. It is immensely entertaining.
It's incredibly funny.
It is hilarious. Like, And it kind of deals with some legitimate sort of, like, concerns that women have about the mystery of the female orgasm, so to speak. And kind of, like, goes a little bit. I wouldn't say goes deep, but they... deep.
Goes pretty deep.
I made it funny. As Willow Rosenberg says, I make my own fun.
But one thing I hope these guys do is I hope they, like, they're supposed to be making these really good movies with, you know, obviously gay sex, so there's going to be gay characters. But, like, I hope they do actual characters, because that's one thing we wanted to talk about is how in Hollywood right now, if a movie has a gay character, they are the gay character.
Well,
not so much meaning they are the one character, they are the gay character.
Even if it's not what defines them, they are known to the audience as the gay character, like fucking Kurt from Glee?
Yeah.
Kurt from Glee.
Kurt and Blaine, who became the driving force, the most popular couple on Glee.
Which I cannot stand Glee for a lot of reasons, mainly because it marginalizes, while stereotyping, homogenizing gay men.
Blah, 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 blah.
Even in the sense that they're different characters, they like different things. No, they're conforming to gay stereotypes.
No, they're not. We won't watch the show.
I will not watch the show.
How different. But anyway.
But even to the audience, that they're not people, they're gay people.
Probably a lot of the audience, yeah.
You're trying to think of ways to defend it. You're like, God damn it, he's right.
But a good one. On Shameless.
Shameless.
Well, okay.
Shameless is a really good one. I'll give you that.
In movies, though, it is you are the gay character. TV shows have broken away from that.
Yeah.
Like on TV,
ironically.
And like on TV shows, you have like Shameless, where you have Ian and Mickey, who are quote unquote
they're not
the gay couple,
but they're not defined at all by their relationship to their homosexuality.
No, like their relationship with each other.
Whereas in Glee, I find there's a lot of these characters may not be all about how they're gay, but a lot of who they are is in relation to their sexuality. Like
in season 4 of Shameless, Mickey is stressed out because he's like, I have to come out because Ian's going to leave me if I don't, blah, blah, blah. So he comes out and everyone's like, what the fuck ever, I don't care. And so there's that, and there was the United States of Tara. Tara had, I can't remember his actual name, but the nickname for him was Moosh. And he was her gay son. And he was so stressed about coming out. And then it was no big deal. And then he got a boyfriend. It was all cute and adorable and everything.
I'm never going to watch that. Fuck those people who made that show. That doesn't happen in real life. Game of Thrones is... I had one of the most boring, lamest coming out experiences of my life. So... It was literally like one night I was playing video games. I paused, looked up and said, holy shit, I'm gay. But then I joke you not. So, and then for the next 3 years, I didn't end up having any sex for the next 3 years. And I was horribly lonely. I was upset. My parents were totally cool with it. My friends were cool with it. Everyone was cool with it. But that was the problem. No one was actually willing to sex me. So... just small town gay guy problems.
I grew up in an even smaller town than him, so I feel the pain.
And you got more sex than I did.
That's because I came out earlier. It was just a time frame. It was inevitable.
One other person who was gay in my small town.
Well, I had sex with a lot of people who weren't gay. Quote unquote.
I didn't even hear about that. I tried to have sex with straight guys. Didn't work. I tried,
but. Other shows, Game of Thrones is a really good example where they have gay characters and they don't even mention it. It's not, oh my god, they're gay. It's they have sex with men and they have just so much other shit going on.
Well, and that's the thing about the Middle Ages is that, and especially up into the 1800s when it started to get legislated, is that homosexuality was an unspeakable thing. Like, it didn't even register as it's something you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
It just wasn't on the radar. And even in the Dark Ages of Europe, there are documentations in Catholic churches of priests ordaining gay marriages to men. It's likely that women also were married to other women, but women, the way that culture worked back then, you just didn't write anything about women.
Yeah, women weren't people.
So, yeah. Quote unquote. But yeah, there were marriages between men, especially in Rome. Emperor Nero, I think? Not Nero. It was another one.
Nero was nuts.
It was another Roman emperor who had not just a gay lover, a gay marriage.
Mm-hmm. It's pharaohs all the time.
All the time. The first recorded, as far as Wikipedia is concerned, the first recorded issue of a gay couple was a pair of Egyptian manicurists. Go figure. Go figure.
Can I help you with your nails, Pharaoh? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Your cheetah? Oh my god. Your animal skin looking so perfect. Looking so perfect.
Oh, the other show. I haven't watched it and I have to watch it, is How to Get Away with Murder, which apparently has gay characters abounding, gay sex rimming on network TV.
Yeah, go figure.
And it's not really made a big deal of that they're gay. They're
also,
two guys that are having sex with each other.
Netflix series, House of Cards and
Orange
is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black is lesbians everywhere.
Well,
it's basically if you're not eating pussy, you don't have story time.
Pretty much.
And
it's like, and even then, there's so much gay sex in this place. It's not gay sex.
It's just sex.
You just do it.
And with
there's a few relationships where few women who are defined by being lesbian.
Yeah.
But just like there are a few people who are defined by being gay, like me, a lot. Like, can you not hear it? Come on. I'm also hopped up on coffee, so give me a break.
Okay.
Coffee.
I'm hopped up on an energy drink, so that's why I'm talking so fast.
But and it's kind of been like over this movie, we've been gradually talking more and more energetic.
But and then with House of Cards, like it's not a big spoiler. Frank Underwood is bisexual.
Like, and it's never...
Or omnisexual. He will just have sex with anything.
It's never... And it's not even for the sake of manipulation. Like, it just... The gay threesome happens.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's not a gay threesome. It's a threesome with his wife and another guy.
Yeah.
And him and the other guy start the scene off kissing. And when I first watched it, I was like, holy shit! And...
Well, and also Frank Underwood had a
gay lover during
college.
And so it's just sort of like, he has sex with guys sometimes. And he does that, and his wife is fine with it.
Well, it's not just having sex. He's capable of being romantically attached with her.
Yeah, which is really cool, because it's not made an issue of.
It's never mentioned after the fact.
He is not the gay vice president. He is just...
a vice president who does gay things. And that's a lot of people say...
And his wife is the perfect woman, and she needs to rule the world.
See, I want to see her as president. A lot of the things... a lot of people... say about that your sexuality shouldn't be the least... I need to edit this out because I'm stuttering. A lot of people say that your sexuality should be the least remarkable thing about you. Mm-hmm. And I agree wholeheartedly. I don't even think that we should have a term for gay and not gay. I don't feel that's a way that we need to define ourselves in an ideal culture. In this culture, it's necessary.
Yeah. I think you need the labels, just because if you get rid of the labels, it's basically anyone can have sex with anyone. Or
what's wrong with that?
I don't think I could have sex with women.
Well, then that would be your choice. Then that would be the thing you would say. You would say, I don't like having sex with women. A woman would be like, okay, that's cool.
Which, I have had sex with a woman before. It's not like...
Fuck off!
It's not like it is, like, revolting or anything.
Oh, speak for yourself.
It's just, I can't do boobs. I can't... It's just, they're there, and you're like, what do I do with them? And I don't know, they're a turn-off for me.
See, I'm indifferent towards...
And long hair, I can't do long hair.
I'm indifferent towards boobs. I'm okay about long hair, not super long hair. Vaginas, I cannot do that.
So I'm fine with vaginas. Vaginas are fine with me. Claire Underwood, she is flat and short hair. I would go down on her all night long.
I might go straight for Claire Underwood.
David Fincher, who is the producer of House of Cards, if you're listening, we would be happy to come on set and help.
David Fincher, please direct Moon Knight. Please! Oh my god!
It's the only time we mentioned comic books this entire episode.
Oh yeah! New record for us.
Except for Kingsman for a second.
Yeah, a second.
Soon we will actually have these up on iTunes, so you can just sort of listen to them on your phone and stuff, and not have to go through YouTube.
Hopefully soon I will whip James into actually doing some fucking marketing over social media with this.
I market all the time. I do stuff. Nobody listens to this. I don't know why. The last video had 7 views.
What time are we at so far?
It's only about an hour.
Really? Or shorter than normal.
Yeah. We usually run like an hour 40, and I have to cut a half hour out of it. So I hope you're enjoying it. I really hope you share it with your friends and stuff like that.
Spread this around like a rash. Come on, guys.
We really enjoy doing this, and if you enjoy listening to us, spread it around. Let people know about it. If you have any suggestions about stuff you'd like us to talk about, whether it's geeky, culture,
We
gay
just
stuff,
love to talk, so
yeah,
let us
we can
enjoy
ramble
talking.
on about just about anything. I'm sorry, once again, this is not a video game episode. We have decided that there are video game topics that we're going to cover, but we're just going to probably cover them in the next episode as their own thing.
We don't really have enough to say about video games. Like, the video game world is kind of, like, slow moving right now.
Yeah, like, I have a lot to say about Nintendo.
I don't, though. That's the thing.
So in the next episode, look forward to my Nintendo/Wii U rant. But other than that, there's just not enough video game topics
And I can
to
go
cover
on
for an hour. We'll be talking about
Wait.
that. We'll probably be talking about the Oscar winners because that's going to be happening this Sunday. So we will see you next week when we are talking about some other stuff. And next week I will talk about my Wii U rant and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
So have a good week, guys, and I hope we'll see you again next week.
See ya!